Hello and good morning, B-Men. My name is Danny Kalala. I am here today with the Chris Natsky, who is a 7th degree black belt, public speaker, author, coach. He actually wrote this book, Black Belt Leadership, which is an amazing book. And you run a series called Mind of a Champion on Facebook. And today we're going to talk about emotional intelligence, which is like your strong point. And just so you know, men, the reason we're having people like Chris on is because he's a master of this. Listen, learn, take some advice, and grow. But I can't wait to hear what you have to say about emotional intelligence. Why don't you say hi to the group?
Well, hi, everyone. And Danny, it's just great to be here. And, I just think that this topic, this subject we're going to talk about today is probably one of the most important topics we can talk about with men. And also probably one that is the most misunderstood and the one that people avoid the most, particularly men. Because we have this thing that we have to be able to handle everything and not let our emotions show. And quite honestly, that's one of the most important things we can do, not only for ourselves, but also the people that we love.
Right. As a man, it's our job to be strong. As a man, it's our job to cover up emotion. As a man, it's our job to, no matter how we feel or what we're going through, to just hit the brick wall, right? Head down, hit it.
That's right.
Just go through it.
That's right.
But what ends up happening when people just put their head down and go through it?
Well, the fact of the matter is you continue to do the same things you've always done, and pretty soon they just stop working.
Right.
And when they stop working, then you're in this point like, what do I do next? And the problem is that many times what we do when those emotions start to come up is we start to anesthetize them, right? We do it through avoidance, we do it through drugs and alcohol, et cetera, et cetera. And then what happens is even though we think everything on the surface is fine, we've got this stuff going on underneath us that impacts us, and we're not even aware it is impacting us until it's too late.
Right, and these are the people we're talking about that are abusing alcohol, substances. Right. You're not doing that just because you love the way it tastes or you love the way it feels. You do love the way it feels, and just like Chris said, for a while it does work. It gives you that ability to get through it, get over it, push it all down, right? But then you're right. What happens when it doesn't?
Well, exactly. My background is I grew up with an alcoholic father, and so I got to see this firsthand. And what was interesting is I never really saw him be able to be in an emotional state that we would consider healthy, like a healthy anger. It was always rage. It wasn't a healthy emotion like if he was sad. It was the other side of just being uncontrollably sad, right? Or he'd be looking to check out all the time. And the problem is he never really got to get over it because he never really had the courage to look at himself or the ability to do that.
Totally. And that's hurtful for not only you, but your entire family unit. What Chris's dad didn't understand at the moment. He probably has perspective or at some point got perspective, but what he didn't understand at the moment is that his actions were affecting his entire family unit. And we got to say as men, it's our job to have a positive impact on our family unit. It's our job to make sure that our family is prepared, our children are prepared, our family is supported. And if we're checking out with things in life, checking out. Now, this is anything. This isn't just substances. This is porn. This is any other activity that you do that allows you to check out, right?
Right.
Get into a different space.
Right.
Forget the way you felt.
Well, and it can even be what we would consider a positive activity. People will do it through exercise, through other vehicles like work. Exactly.
Oh,
I mean, man, guys do that all the time. But we're avoiding it. What ends up happening is that we then not only have that detachment within ourselves, but we start to pass that on generationally. So if our kids, are certainly not aware of it, it certainly impacts our relationship with our romantic partners. But think about what it does with your kids. It becomes generational because most men who have difficulty sharing themselves emotionally can also probably have a father that was doing the exact same thing. They know that their grandfather did that as well. So the powerful thing about this is when we have the courage to do it, we get a chance to stop the generational chain, right? We can make a difference. We can stop that pattern.
And let's be clear, this is what B-Men is about. If you're watching this video and you might still be confused of what the purpose is, what the brand is about, why it exists. It exists to take a normal man who's kind of getting through life, a normal man who's pushing a lot down, trying to trudge through, but not fulfilling their life and not feeling fulfilled. This group is about empowering those men, right?
Absolutely.
This group is about giving you the skills, the emotional intelligence, the financial intelligence. There's the 5 pillars that we'll continue to cover about overall male wellness, and today is just one of those aspects. And no, we're not saying that you got to come in and sit in a group and cry to us
That's right.
about your problems. That's not what we're saying. What we're creating is a space to become better.
That's right. A space to become better. Share those problems, and then what's a positive way to overcome them, right? What's a way to really lean into them so that you have tools and strategies to move forward, and then importantly, the support. Because
True.
many times as men, I think what happens is we think we're the only ones that have these particular problems.
Totally.
So we hide, right?
Uh-huh.
We kind of hide under the rock, whatever. Oh man, everyone else's career, everyone else's family is perfect, and ours isn't. And then you have a discussion. You go, man, he's going through that too. He's dealing with that as well. And now it humanizes us, right?
Totally.
It allows us to really connect and then walk through it together. You have to move through it, guys. We can't hide anymore. We have to move through it because trust me, on the other end of it, that's where the real joy and expansion in life exists.
It's so totally true, and you don't have to. I mean, you have to understand we're broken.
Yeah.
Me and Chris,
Yeah.
we're broken. We're working daily to overcome areas in our life where we could be insufficient. At times in our life, we were more broken.
That's right.
And at times of our life, we shared stories about
Yes.
pushing things down. We sympathize, we empathize, we understand where you're at. But if you're worried about what B-Men is about, it is about becoming better. Simply put, it's about becoming better and gaining skills you might not know. But when you can sit in a group and understand that we're going through the same stuff. We struggle with porn. We struggle with substance abuse. We struggle with putting our head down and trying to go through the wall. But when you can sit down and talk to somebody like Chris and say, hey, I feel this, and I feel like I just need to put my head down and go through the wall. And when you can get a perspective of somebody that's gone through that life experience and it changed them for the better, that's where power is. We talked about the biggest men are able to be small,
That's
right? The
Exactly.
biggest men are able to be small and be vulnerable and admit where they lack.
Yeah, and in fact, when we were having this discussion beforehand, Danny brought that up, and I brought up one that I've used and been taught throughout the years, which is 100% strength comes from 100% vulnerability. That's where our strength comes. Think about times in your life when you've had a really strong male role model, and they were able to share with you an experience where they've had difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you and allows you to appreciate them in a whole new level. And I thought I'd share this story because this was one of the more pivotal times in my life.
Pay attention to the Chris Natzke stories. They're amazing. Pay attention.
All right. So I'm 17 years old, and I had a brother who was 5 years younger than me. I was away at a football camp, maybe 4 or 5 hours away. I come home, and I see a note on the door. And the note on the door, this is before cell phones, obviously, and the note on the door says, Chris, there's been a terrible tragedy in our family. Stay right where you are. So I'm sitting in front of my front door, not knowing what's going to happen. And within 5 minutes, my dad and my uncle arrive, and they tell me that 2 hours before, my brother had drowned at a city park at a beach, and he was dead. And so I'm sharing that story as context because what happened afterwards is what I started to see. Of course, we're going to be in grief, and it's going to be devastating to a family. But I saw my father just really not be able to deal with it. And he really, really poured himself into his alcohol. Excuse the pun, but that's what was happening. Well, it's the day of my brother's funeral, and I'm now the one at 17 years old that has to step up and kind of be the charge of the family because my dad can't handle this at this point in time.
Right.
And I'm up in front of the congregation. We're eulogizing my brother, etc. And I walk off stage, from the pulpit, and I'm on the side. Well, my martial arts instructor, the man who's like the man who showed me strength and vulnerability at every turn, was part of the ceremony. In fact, he had walked down the aisle and presented on my brother's coffin a black belt to talk about the strength that represented. Well, as soon as I see that, I go off stage and I've lost it, right? It's the first time I'm allowing myself for the emotions to come.
Right.
And I'm humped over the side of the windowsill, just crying, and all of a sudden I feel this hand on my shoulder. And I get spun around and wrapped in this bear hug, and it's my martial arts instructor. And he and I just stood there and cried. And here's the guy that's the strongest man I've ever been around, and he was able to let his emotions show. And I realized at that moment, and I couldn't even verbalize it, right, when I'm 17, but being a powerful man was about being able to show your strength and your vulnerability at the same time.
That's a great story. I felt that, man.
Yeah.
And that's truly what this is about. And this may be new to you. You may not understand what we're talking about, and that's okay too. We're not going to challenge you with this stuff. This isn't a 3-day program and you're going to come out on the other side okay. We're recognizing that you got some junk. We do too.
Right, totally.
And this is a group of men that recognize that they have some junk, but want to become better. They want to become better for their family. They want to become stronger in their relationship with whatever higher power they have. They want to become more emotionally intelligent. They want to become better leaders, husbands, spouses. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. And that is what Be Men is about. And that is why people like Chris are in this organization, to allow you to have that leadership, which is big, which is pivotal, because it's not alone. There's a lot of other great leaders in Be Men.
Amen.
And you're going to see them as we continue this series. So if you're seeing this video, make sure you watch for some more men coming on Fridays that are going to give you that different approach, because that's the beauty. None of us have it figured out.
Right, totally.
And we all have a different perspective, and we understand that you might need to hear it from somebody else, and that's why we have that variety. But if you are a man that wants to improve, wants to become better, is ready to get rid of the fluff and the mess and quit running through walls thinking you're coming out on the other side okay, then there's an event coming up in March, right?
There is.
In March, there's going to be an event where these men are speaking. I think I saw some literature for it, but what's it going to be called again?
I believe it's,
the masculine movement?
The masculine movement, exactly. And so what we're doing is we're coming together and we're going to talk about the 5 pillars of male wellness, right? So we're going to talk about the emotional content that we're speaking about here. We're going to look at finances. We're going to look at physical health. I'm going to be speaking about spirituality in terms of how do you tap into that powerful part of ourself that's connected to whatever that higher power is. So we're going to be having really great discussions about this and how can we as men really make these an integral part of our lives, you know, to really lean into them. So it's not something we just talk about and theorize about, but we actually live.
Totally.
Live.
And
just as Danny said, I'm not saying this from a perspective of having it all together. I'm working on this all the time, but I'll tell you what, I had a good buddy of mine tell me years ago, you're an average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, right?
Totally.
And so in the Be Men movement, now what we get to do is we get to hang around and be with guys that can help us to become the best men we were designed to be.
Totally, because you don't have to be alone. You don't have to be a lone wolf. You don't have to go through everything in life, which we know life is hard. We know life will throw you curveballs. There will be gut punches. You will fall to your knees, and you don't have to do it alone. That's what Be Men is about. That's why we call it Join the Brotherhood. Join the brotherhood of men. Have some men that want to help you up, not in a way that says you're weak, in a way that says, I've been there. I know how this feels. What can I do for you? And to have men that support you in your weakest moments and not just tell you to man up and push through it and you got to show up to work the next day. No, if you need a day off, we're going to tell you to take a day off. Repair, heal. Don't just push it down. So stay tuned to these live videos because this content is going to be amazing. We're going to keep bringing you tips and tricks and real life advice and things that you can do in your life at home right now, things you can work on, things you can become better, all while we're working towards that March event, which is the masculine movement. Price of admission is small. We're going to have stuff on the Be Men page about it. You can probably click around and find information about it right now. But this is your opportunity to sit in a room. Now, sometimes the bravest step is the first step. And we understand that. And your first step might be watching this video. And that's a first step. And watching this video into entirety. But the second step is showing up in a room. Are we gonna tell people that they need to get up and share and they need to break down all their problems? We're gonna create a space for you to be yourself, to check it out, to see what this is all about, to become a part of the brotherhood.
Amen. Amen to that. And again, this isn't about fixing you. Okay, I just want you to hear that. It's not about fixing you. This is about being able to, you know, we're designed as human beings. We have the things that we have great strengths, and we also have our areas of opportunity. And that's just part of life. And we're all working on it. So like when I go to these meetings, when I go to these functions, I'm looking to do the same thing because I'm looking to continuously grow and expand. And what's interesting about this is that when you do that, you start showing up better for other people. You start showing up better for your wife or your romantic partner, for your kids, the people that you're at work with, your family. You just start showing up in a much stronger way. So many times what we do is we give and we give and we give until we don't have anything else to give anymore.
Right.
But you have to take care of yourself first before you can help take care of others. It's just so integral.
Love it. So, Chris, if people want to follow you and stay in touch with you, how do they find you?
Well, they can find me on my website, chrisnatsky.com, which is ChrisNatsky. N is in Navy, ATZ is in Zebra, KE.com. And as Danny said, I do a weekly Facebook post called Mind of the Champion Tip of the Week. Also, if you're interested in getting on my email list to receive that in a blog form, just go ahead and go to my website and just ask for, to get on my list, and I'll be happy to share that with them.
Love it, Chris. You're a powerful man. B-Man is lucky to have you, and anybody listening today is lucky to hear advice from your mouth. So stay tuned. Every Friday, we're going to have a live video coming with different men's on different pillars of men and masculine movements and the 5 pillars of
Male health.
Male
wellness,
health. There we
male
go.
Wellness, yeah.
Awesome. So thanks everybody for your time today. If you found great value in this, the one way you can help the movement is to share this video. Click the share button. Get this out to other men that need to hear it, because what we know is no matter how low men are, no matter how they're feeling, they are logging into Facebook daily. And when we can place a message of hope in front of them when they're hurting their worst, that's when our work is truly being done. So if you feel so inclined, go ahead and click the share button. Get this out of this page and into your feed, because you care about men and you care about their mental and emotional wellness. So thanks everybody for your time today. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, Chris.
Absolutely.
Black Belt Leadership is the book if you want to see that. He's an amazing leader. He's an amazing speaker. Follow his weekly Mind of a Champion, because there's some great tips that you're going to add some immense value in your life out of his stories. So thanks again, Chris,
Absolutely.
and enjoy your day, everybody.